Hey, what's up, Eagles Nation? It's your boy Cool Eagle back here with another video. Just basically talking to you guys the calm after the storm, because I know a lot of us were still pretty uptight on Twitter and a lot of social media platforms about the piss poor performance that we saw from the Philadelphia Eagles. And we were just talking about who to blame. You know, a lot of blame is going to Carson Wentz, and deservedly so, because, him being the franchise quarterback and, things that he just should not do. Two interceptions and two fumbles, one loss that basically kept Washington in the game and inevitably gave them the game in the end, a victory. So, what you could really blame and to really just dissect this game, you really could just go into the lack of creativity and play calling. And what I mean by creativity and play calling is, Doug Peterson just not giving those necessary adjustments going into the second half, and the Washington football team making those necessary adjustments. As you've seen, that they start being more aggressive on pass defense, and the front seven that we know Washington is notorious for start coming after Carson Wentz, which is why you've seen like the 4 sacks in the second half, I believe, and the interceptions and the forced fumbles that basically played in their favor. Now, a lot of us on Twitter, I was seeing a lot of us were giving a lot of heckling towards Darius Slay, who to me was one of the 5 best players on this team, as he held Scary Terry to, I think, 6 catches for 51 yards. No, and I think that this game was purely an offensive struggle, not only from lack of creativity, but just being too pass happy and not sticking to the fundamentals. Keeping that defense guessing, which is what I said in the video prior to this game. You have to keep this defense guessing, because if you're just gonna bomb it, 3 out of every 4 plays, I'm just gonna sit back and peel my ears back, and I'm gonna send the dogs at you, which is exactly what they did. Which is why you've seen the 4 or 5 sacks in the second half, 3 in the first quarter. I don't think a lot of us pay attention to that, but just going into the second half, you start seeing the front 7 come after Carson Wentz, and then Carson Wentz still being pass happy, throwing it up, and the defense just okay, pick, and Carson Wentz really could have had 3 picks, but the ref called it back because of a penalty on Ioannidis, which thankfully didn't go away, because we probably would have lost way worse. We probably would have got blown out 34-17, because Washington just took it over in the second half, and just because of these 3 things, again, lack of play creativity, which is what I was talking about in the video prior to this. You gotta keep them guessing. We did not keep them guessing at all. We pretty much gave them the game and let them know how we thought we were going to beat them, and they adjusted to that. And kudos to Washington again. And then secondly, you got Carson Wentz not being Carson Wentz. That guy extending the play, going outside the pocket, which he's number 1. In last year yet, because we know Carson Wentz is the best quarterback outside the pocket with a 90+ QBR. But we saw him just be stationary in the pocket for some odd reason, and just trying to wait for something to happen instead of trying to make something on his own, which is why you got those sacks and those forced fumbles and unnecessary sacks taken by Carson Wentz. And then thirdly, man, we didn't stick to the fundamentals, man. We didn't stick to the short intermediate passes and setting up the run game, which helps set up those deep passes. We didn't do well enough. And I think that Carson Wentz has acknowledged that. Doug Peterson has acknowledged that. And I don't think we should overreact. I think we should take notes from this game and just have confidence that we will come back next week against the Rams, who we are notoriously known for beating. And again, kudos to Washington for what they did. And Deshaun Jackson. I didn't see much of him like we were supposed to. I didn't see much of JJ Arcega-Whiteside. I think a lot of fans are calling him Mr. Invisible now. And it just makes you wonder, like, who was really stepping up on this offense today? Because outside of Jalen Reagor with that one deep pass, we didn't really see much of anything. Like, Dallas Goedert was really like the only one that was probably anchoring the offense, as he got half of Wentz's yards. And then Zach Ertz, who's probably still in his feelings about that contract talk. We didn't see much of him either. 3 catches for 18 yards. Like, that's not what you expect out of a guy who's battling for a contract. And then JJ Arcega-Whiteside, he should have been a great factor in this game as a corner who is covering him. He's the third corner on the list, so like you would think JJ Arcega-Whiteside would at least got open at least once or twice, but we didn't see him at all. So this kind of makes me wonder what you're going to see out of these young guys, including JJ Arcega-Whiteside, going into this game against the Rams, who are looking really good right now against Dallas. Even though I still got Dallas win this game, because I'm just not seeing much life out of the Rams offense like I wanted to. But yeah, man, it's just not looking good, and I hope we can. I'm confident that we'll fix these mistakes. Carson Wentz is not known for having like consecutive bad games on purpose. I think he'll come out against the Rams and do a lot better. I think we'll have a lot more play, like creativity, establishing the run. I think we'll revert back to those short intermediate passes, which will inevitably set up those deep passes to our young speedy guys. And other than that, man, I think this game was just purely like an offensive struggle. We didn't adjust well. Not a lot of people stepped up how we expected it. But yeah, man, tell me what you guys think.